Thank you for joining with me. We are reading A Course in Miracles, complete and annotated edition, edited by Robert Perry, but honestly, I don't think it matters which edition you read. I am just currently reading this one. We are in Workbook for Students, Part 2 of the workbook, Section 9. What is the Second Coming? And this is Lesson 309. I will not fear to look within today. Within me is eternal innocence because it is God's will that it be there forever and forever. I, His Son, whose will is limitless, as is His own, can will no change in this. For to deny my Father's will is to deny my own. To look within is but to find my will as God created it and as it is. I fear to look within because I think I made another will which is not true and made it real. We'll go down to footnote 121. I fear to look within because I think I made a sinful will, a will that is driven to attack God and His Son. Yet it has no effects. Within me is the holiness of God. Within me is the memory of Him. The step I take today, my Father, is my sure release from my idle dreams of sin. Your altar stands serene and undefiled. It is the holy altar to myself, and there I find my true identity. And now we will read the commentary by Alan Watson. I will not fear to look within today. This is the practice suggestion by Robert Perry. The following exercise may help you apply the essence of today's lesson. First, get in touch with the part of you that feels you're more or less always right, that you're always justified, always doing your best, that the problem always lies in external forces putting too much pressure on you. Then go the next level down. Try to get in touch with how much you mistrust your own will, how you wish it would naturally and consistently reach for the highest, the most loving, but how instead it often drags you down into the mud. Now try to get in touch with how defiled you believe this wayward will of yours has made you. It has defined you in your eyes as a petty, self-centered, superficial, and ultimately self-destructive person. A medieval mystic of the foul, stinking lump of self. A medieval mystic spoke of the foul, stinking lump of self. Try to get in touch with that kind of self-loathing within you. Then realize that all of the above is the voice of your ego, telling you who you are when it doesn't even know. Accept that God's voice tells you otherwise. He tells you that you are His holy Son forever and forever. Place your trust in His voice, recognizing that He knows who you are even if you don't. Let His view of you sink in. Let it draw you down to that deep place in your mind where God's holiness dwells, and where His holiness is yours. Spend the rest of the time in quiet meditation, abiding in that place of holiness where you can look on yourself with love, not with fear. Now this is the commentary by Alan Watson. I find that I am often very suspicious of my own motives. I am so aware that in the past I have done a masterful job of hiding my own thoughts and feelings from myself, that even when I am not knowingly aware of anything being off, when my motives on the surface seem pure, I find myself wondering what lurks underneath the rock and hesitating to look. For example, I have in the past distanced myself from a close friend while convinced the whole time that she was distancing herself from me. It took 3 hours of intense argument. I can't call it anything better than that, before I finally got in touch with my own fear and anger that was causing me to push her away. I denied vehemently that I was doing so. I claimed that I had been longing for more closeness and that she was not responding. When you are conversant with the ego's deceptions, it seems hard to trust yourself. It always seems to me as if there might be something sneaky going on in my mind that somehow I have been hiding with denial and dissociation. So how can I not fear to look within? What true grungy thing will I uncover this time if I do? I fear to look within because I think I made another will that is not true and made it real. If I do look within, often the first things I will see are these ugly, grungy things, another will that is not true. I will see them, but the good news is that they are not true. I did not succeed in making this other will real. All I succeeded in making were illusions. The ugliness is a smoke screen, a mask, a facade the ego has erected over the eternal innocence of my mind. If I will look at those thoughts with the Holy Spirit, I will find that they are not as terrible as I have feared. He will translate them into truth for me. He will help me see in them the call for love, the unconscious affirmation of the love which lies buried beneath them, the distorted reflection of the innocence I have never lost. For instance, in the case mentioned above, I was pushing my friend away, distancing myself from her. Why? Because I was afraid of losing her love, because I felt terrified that she did not find me worthy of her of her time and company, and I was not going to give her the chance to prove my fears correct. I would withdraw before she could push me out. I would punish her for imagined betrayal by taking myself away from her. I was mistaken both in my own self-evaluation and in my assessment of her evaluation of me. And the Course was demonstrated to me so very clearly that night. She got angry at me. She got furious and once got up to walk out of the restaurant, saying she would never want anything to do with me again because I was so massively in denial that she couldn't deal with it. It wasn't until a miracle happened that the impasse was resolved. Suddenly, my perception of her shifted. I saw her anger as what it actually was, a call for love. She was furious with me because I was withholding my love and she was in pain over the thought of losing it. Her anger was no longer attack in my perception. It was a cry for help. It was her love for me mistakenly trying to find what it wanted through anger and attack. And as I forgave her, I saw the same dynamic in myself. In that moment, I was no longer afraid to look within. I saw the twisted motives that had been running me. I saw my fear, I saw my icy distancing, and behind it all, I discovered my love and my innocence, waiting to meet hers. We need never fear to look within. All that is there is my will as God created it and as it is. What I made with all those ugly ego thoughts had no effect at all. There is no reason to fear them. They are meaningless. I can look at them with the Holy Spirit beside me and laugh. I can say, how foolish. These thoughts do not mean anything. Beneath that is the frightened mind in pain over what it thinks it has done. And past that, far deeper, is the holiness of God, the memory of God. This beneficent mind, this kind and gentle mind, so spacious and open and magnanimous, so all-encompassing. This is my true identity. This is who I am. Now, if you will please close your eyes and I will lead us into the meditation. I will not fear to look within today. The step I take today, my Father, is my sure release from idle dreams of sin. Your altar stands serene and undefiled. It is the holy altar to my true self, and there I find my true identity. I will not fear to look within today. Thank you so much for joining with me in that meditation. We will now read Alan Watson's commentary on what is the second coming. This is paragraph 5, sentences 1 through 4. What are we to do about the second coming? 1. Pray for it. Ask that it be soon. Desire it, yearn for it, be quietly impatient for its coming. 2. Give ourselves to it wholly. It needs your eyes and ears and hands and feet. It needs your voice, and most of all, it needs your willingness. We are the means by which the second coming will happen. Let us give our eyes to see love everywhere, and give them no longer to find fault or to see guilt. Let us give our ears to hear only the voice for God, and to hear and answer every call for love around us. Let us give our hands to take the hands of those beside us and lead them home. Let us give our feet to go to those in need, and give our voice to speak the words of healing, of forgiveness, and of release. Most of all, let us give our willingness to join in the great crusade to correct the mad error of sin and guilt wherever we encounter it. In other words, we are those who will bring him back. He has never left in reality. The return is a return to our consciousness, the return of the memory of our identity. Excuse me. The work I do on myself is the most potent way to invite the second coming. The way in which I affirm my brother's identity with me and with the Christ through forgiveness, through true perception, is how the second coming comes. Each of us has a vital part in this. My part is essential to God's plan for salvation. The little shift that occurs in your mind as you practice the Course each day, and seemingly insignificant change of mind that lets you forgive the person who cut you off in traffic, or moons you, or the friend or relative who acts unlovingly. Each little act of kindness, each moment in which you choose to see a call for love rather than one of attack, is contributing to the awakening of this great mind, the one being that we are. It is not just you that is awakening, it is the Christ. He is coming again. He is coming again in you. And as you let yourself be healed, you will see all those around you, or who cross your mind, or whom you touch, or those who seem to have no contact with you, healed along with you. Perhaps you will not recognize them all, nor realize how great your offering to all the world when you let healing come to you. But you are never healed alone. And legions upon legions will receive the gift that you receive when you are healed. Each time you practice, awareness is brought a little nearer at least. Sometimes 1,000 years or more are saved. The Holy Spirit will be glad to take 5 minutes of each hour from your hands and carry them around this aching world where pain and misery appear to rule. He will not overlook one open mind that will accept the healing gifts they bring, and he will lay them everywhere he knows they will be welcome. And they will increase in healing power each time someone accepts them as his thoughts and uses them to heal. Thus will each gift to him be multiplied 1,000-fold, and tens of thousands more. And when it is returned to you, it will surpass in might the little gift you gave, as much as does the radiance of the sun outshine the tiny gleam a firefly makes an uncertain moment and goes out. The steady brilliance of this light remains and leads you out of darkness, nor will you be able to forget the way you came. To forget the way again. That is what is happening today. Down through the centuries, a few people have remembered. Their light has shone. and apparently in many cases gone out. But it has never really gone out. Each flash of light impacted every mind in the world, shifted it that little bit closer to truth until today. In our lifetimes, we can see the beginnings of a steady brilliance, a light that is too bright to ever again become obscured. We are seeing the snowball effect of enlightenment. The snowball has become far too big to be ignored. Victor Hugo said, "Nothing is so powerful as an idea whose time has come." And the time for this idea has come. It is here, and we are part of it. Thank you for joining with me in this lesson and reading lesson 309. I will not fear to look within today. I love you.